Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Heidi McIndoe, and I am a registered dietitian. And today we are here to talk about food and mood. So, just a couple things before we start. Everyone is muted just so it makes it easier to hear. And I do have the chat open. So, if you have any questions or comments as we're going along, please feel free to put them in the chat um, at any time. You don't have to wait until the end. We'll certainly have time at the end for questions. But like I said, if you have questions or comments in the middle somewhere, just throw them in that chat. I can address them as they come up. That way you won't forget them. I know I'm always worried about forgetting my questions. All right. So, like I said, people are still hopping on here, but I am just going to, let's see, get to my next slide here. All right. Oh, I do not have the Q&A open, though. I can't remember if I said that. Only the chat is how I can see questions or comments. All right, so as I said, I'm Heidi, dietitian, food and mood. Let's get started. So a basic outline of what we're going to go over today is just a little bit of an overview about how brain health sort of is related to nutrition, related to what you eat. And then we're going to talk about how foods impact specific areas of brain health. Today, we are focusing on your mood, your energy, and your sleep, and how what you're eating can affect all of those areas. All right. So, old thinking versus new thinking. Now, keep in mind, I mean, this is science. So, we know the sky is blue and the grass is green. Those are facts. Science is not so easy. As we learn new things, and researchers do their work, that's when we learn new things. That things are always evolving in science. So what we used to believe was that once you got to adult age, once you got to a certain age, your brain just stopped growing. You were not getting any more brain cells, and that's the end of the day. You're done. So you better do all your brain growth and learning while you're younger. And in addition, that the as we did get older, not only were we not developing more brain cells, but that the ones we had, it was just inevitable that they would decline with age. Their ability to function as well. It was just, that's the way it was. You just got to accept it. And also, the quantity of your brain cells is what we think, what we thought was the most important. And I mean, just like a lot of things, we are learning quality over quantity usually is a better angle to look at, I guess. So that was what we used to think. Now, what do we think? We now know that the brain is constantly evolving, and new cells can grow, things can develop more. Your brain is dynamic, it's not stagnant, it's continually growing. And that new neurons, which are basically how things connect in your brain is constantly developing new connections inside. However, I will say stress can negatively impact this sort of brain growth. If you're continually, chronically stressed, you're not going to get that same brain growth, brain development as somebody who is more relaxed, on a regular basis. We now know your brain can be exercised, just like all the muscles in your body. We can exercise our brain. We don't have to just let it, waste away. If we're doing brain exercises, we can keep it vibrant and strong and keep its functioning, as high as possible. And like I did mention, We now know it is the quality of those brain cells, not the quantity. So again, if quantity is what, or quality is what matters, I shouldn't make those words so simple. If quality is what matters, then we want to make sure we are doing as much as we can to make sure the brain cells we are developing and the neurons that are being generated are strong and healthy, and we keep them that way. All right. So there are certain foods and nutrients, specifically nutrients as well as specific foods, that can impact our brain. Remember I said neurons are how our brain communicates. It's through these neurotransmitters, and it's like a little what is the word I'm looking for? Well, like a little telegraph system. It's like a little electronic system where um, one part of your body or your brain sends these electrical currents to another part, so it knows what it needs to do. It knows the job it needs to carry out. Uh, and that's just how our body functions. That's how our brain functions. Nutrients, however, what we eat talk to these neurons. It's not a one-sided affair. They sort of help those neurons do their job better, and they help them be stronger. Like I said, certain nutrients do that. And eating is one of the great chances we have every single day to affect not only how healthy our brain is, how healthy our body is, which hopefully everybody knows that, but also our mood and our memory. And that's something I feel like not as many people sort of connect those two relationships. Um, you're in a bad mood. Well, you're in a bad mood, but maybe it's because of what you are or aren't eating or drinking. Um, your memory's not doing so great. Your ability to function at work, do things like that, process your tasks at work, not doing so well. Oh, are you having a bad day? Maybe, but maybe it's because of, again, what you are or are not eating or drinking. So we want to really focus on our food, just like we do for our physical body. We want to do it for our the mental part of our body. All right, so our food choices, and this is just the mental part aspect of what our food choices do. What they do physically for us is a whole other uh, presentation. So today I'm focusing on just this. But our food choices can impact our energy. It can impact our blood sugar levels, which in turn can impact our energy. Our food choices impact our mood, which again can be influenced by blood sugar levels, our stress levels, both of which can impact mood and energy, our memory, and our sleeping and waking patterns. So all of these things are both directly related to our food choices, but also they are related to each other as well. So there's lots of reasons, uh, lots of reasons to make sure you're making healthy food choices. But the good news is you don't need to eat a certain way to help your energy, and a different way to boost your mood, and a different way to help your memory. It's all generally the same eating guidelines, eating recommendations. So, you make a few maybe simple changes in what you're eating, and you can benefit all of these aspects. So that's a good thing. And of course, our food choices can, in conjunction with this, simply impact our overall wellness. So that's really good. All right. So yes, mood, what we eat definitely can eat or don't eat can affect our mood. So when it comes to mood is very tied to blood sugar. So when your blood sugar levels drop, you tend to maybe be cranky, moody, tired, just, sluggish, not really feeling great. However, when your blood sugar levels are at where they should be at a consistent level, our mood is usually, you're in a good mood, you're having a good day. So the interesting thing about this is this can change over the course of the day. And ideally, what we want our food choices to do is to keep both our blood sugar and in doing so, our mood more stable, more of a gentle, up and down gentle waves. We don't want blood sugar, mood, those things. We don't want, spike up, spike down, spike up, spike down, because that's just, it's hard to get through the day like that when you're constantly, oh yeah, I'm feeling great. And an hour later, you're like, oh my gosh. So what do? You grab a candy bar. Oh, feeling great. So you get into this cycle, this negative sort of cycle of up and down, up and down, up and down. And if you can just imagine, like I said, sort of a graph where when you're feeling great, the numbers at the top, and then you're not feeling so great, straight down, up and down, up and down. Like I said, we want more of a wave. So how do we get that? So one of the ways we can get that is eating consistently throughout the day. Our body, if we're eating if we're making the healthy food choices, then what we eat at each eating occasion should last us 3, 4, 5 hours, basically. When we're not making good choices, what we're eating could be digested, within an hour or so. And that's when, when the food's in there, we're feeling good, we have the high mood. When the food's gone, that's when your bellies are empty, that's when the blood sugar levels drop and the mood drops. So we want to make sure we're eating every, I don't know why I put 4 to 5 on here. I usually like to say 3 to 4 hours. So that's one part of the equation. You don't want to go longer, certainly, than about 5 hours without eating something, because that's when, again, stomach's empty, blood sugar levels drop, mood drops, you're cranky, having a hard time focusing, maybe you're getting a headache, which contributes to being in a bad mood, or just not a nice mood. So that's one step. But it matters what we are eating on those eating occasions. So if we want to have that satisfaction that lasts those 4 or 5 hours, we want to limit those refined carbohydrates. And by refined carbohydrates, I mean things like pastries and candies and sodas and sports drinks, that people drink when they're not, doing sports. More refined, processed things like white flour, white rice. Now, I will say, there is nothing wrong with white rice, whole, traditional pasta, except they don't have those added nutrients, protein, fiber, healthy fats, vitamins, and minerals. So they themselves are not unhealthy, but they don't give us the same benefits as their whole grain counterparts. So we lump the white rice and the white pasta and the white bread right in there with those refined carbohydrates in this sense. If you just don't like brown rice or whole grain pasta, I know my family doesn't like whole wheat pasta, that's fine. You just want to make sure that if you are eating the processed ones, you're pairing them with some lean protein and some other fiber-rich foods so you still can reap the benefits. And make sure you're getting your whole grains from other sources. Like we eat whole grain cereal and whole grain bread, but we, use traditional pasta. So we want to limit those refined carbohydrates. Our body digests them so quickly that, we get that spike of mood, of energy, everything, and then it's gone. It's almost as soon as you feel that you got the benefit, you're hungry again, you're cranky again. So we do want those unrefined, high fiber carbs paired with lean protein. And I recommend people do this pairing at every eating occasion. So what's a high fiber carb? It's going to be things like whole grains, whole grain crackers. Popcorn is a great high fiber carbohydrate, it's going to be fruit, whole fruit, not fruit juice. You sort of miss out on the fiber when you take the juice and leave the rest of the fruit to the side. And it's going to be lean proteins, eggs, lean beef, nuts, nut butters, beans, eggs, hummus, tofu, edamame, fish, chicken. All those are great. Low-fat dairy, low-fat like Greek yogurt, things like that. Those are all, I love popcorn too, man. Now I will say, I said popcorn was a great source of fiber. It's a great whole grain. It does matter what you put on the popcorn. I actually love a brand called Skinny Pop, which I hate the name, but it's just lightly salted. They make it with, I think it's canola oil, and just tastes delicious. So save the buttery theater kind for when you're actually at the theater, and snack on the healthier kind regularly. But I always tell people, pair those fiber rich carbs and lean proteins at every eating occasion. What do I mean? What's an example of that? Whole grain toast with peanut butter for breakfast. Greek yogurt with berries mixed in it for a snack. A sandwich maybe on whole grain bread at lunch with some tuna or some egg salad on it. An afternoon snack is maybe some carrot sticks and hummus, or maybe it is whole grain crackers and a couple slices of cheese. Dinner, people don't normally have a problem with figuring out protein at dinner, but it could be again, chicken, fish, pork, lean beef, edamame, quinoa, eggs, like have a nice frittata. Lots and lots of ways to pair those lean proteins with. Where's our high fiber? It's going to come from potatoes. It's going to come from whole grain or brown rice. It's going to come from the vegetables and the fruits we're having at that meal. Let's see, what does Andrea do? She puts smoked paprika on her popcorn. Oh, I'll have to try that. So smoked paprika after a little oil spray. I love barbecue chips, so that's a good idea. Thank you for sharing. All right, and what else do we want to be eating? So the reason I'm saying we want those unrefined high fiber foods and the lean protein is because they take a much longer time to be digested. So they're staying in your digestive tract longer. They're giving you energy longer. They're keeping you satisfied longer than those candy bars and pastries that are in out almost as soon as they're in. I have got to try nutritional yeast. I don't know why I'm afraid of it, but I am. So I need to try it, and I think popcorn would be a good way to try it. It's just one of those weird quirks I have. So omega-3 fatty acids are another fantastic way to help stabilize your mood and pair with those meals, because those also fatty acids, healthy fats like that, avocado, salmon, those kinds of things, walnuts, those also take longer to digest and be absorbed. So they keep you feeling fuller longer as well. Hot sauce on your popcorn. I have never done that. I will tell you guys my little secret. When I was younger, I used to do, not a secret, like my guilty pleasure maybe. When I was younger, I would do this, and it's so darn good. I would melt a little bit of peanut butter and mix it with raisins and popcorn. So I was getting a whole grain, I was getting protein, I was getting some fruit. So it really wasn't such an unhealthy snack, but man, there was something about that was really good. All right, so like I said, we want to get those healthy fats, those omega-3 fatty acids in, because they take longer to digest, but the omega-3 fatty acids also it's just one of their jobs, one of their functions is they help boost your mood. So that's one of those things that, in addition to just being the right food that you're eating by providing calories and energy, they also have like a superpower in that they promote those beneficial endorphins and things like that make you just feel happier, feel in a better mood. So I already mentioned like salmon, fatty fish, avocado, soybeans, walnuts, chia, and flax. Those are all great sources of omega-3 fatty acids. I will say, in terms of the flax, though, flax is one of those things. So if you've looked at it at the store, if you bought it, they have flax seeds and they have what they either call ground flax or flax meal. Same exact thing, different name. But the seeds, they're fairly shelf stable. They'll last for a little while on your, in your pantry, whatever. However, your body cannot break down that shell outside that seed very well. So you eat a seed and it comes right back out pretty much the way you consumed it. And you're not getting any of those internal benefits that the omega-3s and things like that the seeds provide. When you grind flax, oh yeah, that's actually, Larissa, that's just what I'm talking about. So when you grind the flax, that's where you reap the benefits. So you don't want to eat flax seeds. I mean, you could eat the flax seeds whole, but if you want to reap the benefits, you want to be getting the ground flax or the flax meal or the flax flour, whatever it's called. However, it tends to go rancid more quickly. So what I do is I just keep my bag right in the freezer. It does not freeze like a brick. It is powdery right, the moment I take it out. So I keep it in the freezer. It lasts much, much longer. And then I can just scoop out a tablespoon whenever I need it to put in a smoothie or in, muffin batter or whatever I'm doing with it. Chia seeds, on the other hand, you can eat those whole. You get the benefits, no problem. So chia, eat whole. Flax, eat ground. The other option to keeping your ground flax in the freezer is to get the seeds, but then just grind it fresh when you want to use it. For years, I had a little grinder on my kitchen counter that was full of flax seeds because I thought, oh, I can just grab it and grind some flax into everything. I never did. So now, like I said, I keep the flax meal in the freezer and I'm using it much more often. Whoops. There we go. All right, energy. That is number 2 that we are talking about. So in order to make sure we have enough energy throughout our day, we want to make sure, again, we're going to see a lot of repeat because remember what I said, to reap the benefit, one of the benefits, the actions that you need to do will also help you reap the other benefits. So if we want to have energy, we want to make sure that we're eating breakfast. Remember I said we don't want to go more than 3 to 4 hours without eating. Think about it. When you wake up in the morning, you've most likely gone longer than 3 to 4 hours without eating. So we want to break that fast and we want to have something to eat. A lot of people tell me, oh, I can't eat breakfast in the morning. If I eat breakfast, I'm hungry a few hours later. Okay, that's the way it should be. That means your body is actually digesting that meal and it's ready for more nutrition. People say, oh, I don't like breakfast food. Lots. I've heard every reason in the book not to eat breakfast. But I will say a few things. Breakfast doesn't have to be a traditional meal. It can be last night's leftovers. I don't care what it is. It can be some weird, wacky, combination of foods, as long as it's high quality carb, some protein, and either is low in fat or is a good source of those healthy fats. I love breakfast, so I usually share typical breakfast ideas. But like I said, you can have unbreakfast ideas and that's fine. Or maybe, instead of having your breakfast first thing in the morning, if you're not hungry, do a bunch of stuff and then maybe make a smoothie or something that you can take on the way out the door with you. Or if you can bring, if you have a microwave at work where you can heat up some milk and mix it with some oatmeal once you get to work, maybe you'll be ready to eat then. But again, oatmeal, I love to make it with milk because it boosts the protein. It gives me some calcium and it keeps me feeling fuller longer. And honestly, I think it tastes better. Eggs, whether they are in an omelet, hard boiled, scrambled, cooked in any way, eggs are fantastic. Smoothies are great. again, just an old-fashioned bowl of, some whole grain cereal with some milk, sprinkle some walnuts, some fruit, berries on top. I love to have whole grain toast with peanut butter and sliced banana, with a glass of milk. So I sort of get it all in there. And so that's just some breakfast ideas. But remember, we want to get those fiber-rich and lean protein foods at every eating occasion. So I already went through a few ideas of a breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks. But other ideas, again, smoothies are so great if you like smoothies. A lot of people say, oh, I don't have time in the morning for a smoothie. Put everything in the blender the night before, pop it in the fridge. All you got to do in the morning is whiz it together, and you've got a smoothie. Or I like to make my smoothies with frozen fruit, frozen bananas, frozen fruit, because I like how thick it is. Put everything in a Ziploc bag, pop it in the freezer, dump it in the blender in the morning, and again, whiz it up, you're out the door. So those are some great breakfast snack ideas. Salads are great, but if you have a salad, remember, we need that lean protein to keep us feeling fuller longer. You can have a humongous bowl of, lettuce and cucumbers and celery and sort of very low fiber vegetables, and that's great. You're getting all those vitamins and minerals and nutrients, but without the fiber and the lean protein, you're going to be hungry like an hour and a half later. So put some beans in that salad, put some hard-boiled egg, put some tuna, some sliced up turkey, anything, get some protein in there. You want to make sure you are staying hydrated throughout the day. When you get dehydrated, you tend to feel sort of listless, like you don't have a ton of energy. And also, most people don't realize they are thirsty or don't feel thirst until they're already on the road to dehydration. So you do want to make sure you're drinking fluids throughout the day. It doesn't have to be plain water. Plain water is fantastic. It can be low-fat milk. It could be tea. It could be watery filled fruits and vegetables like watermelon, melon, and celery, and soups. Flavor your water. It can be flavored seltzer. You can put your own water in the fridge with some berries in it, mash them up, and flavor your own water. Just drink something consistently throughout the day. How do you know if you're drinking enough fluids or getting enough fluids? Check your urine. If it's pretty pale, yellow, or clear, you're good to go. Dark, you need to be getting some more fluids in over the course of the day. So coffee, I don't know. I go back and forth. Yes, it counts. So yes, it's a fluid, so it would count. I just wouldn't recommend getting all of your fluids as coffee because it also tends to act as a diuretic. So you end up, going to the bathroom more and losing some of that valuable fluid you were trying to take in. So yeah, a cup or two of coffee during the day, that can certainly count as part of your fluids, but the rest of the day, I'd probably want to go for those other types of fluids. And we already talked a lot about those limiting refined carbohydrates. And finally, sleep. I know we're getting near our half hour, so we got to figure out what are we going to do to sleep. So one thing we don't want to do right before bed is we do not want to have a huge meal before bed. We do not want to have a real high fat meal before bed. Why? Because your body is going to be staying awake, trying to digest all that food, and your body needs all parts of your body should be able to relax so you can fall asleep and get a restful sleep. And if they're digesting stuff, you're not going to be able to either fall asleep or it's just not going to be a real restful sleep. Sorry, I could not say that because part of your body is doing some work. So avoid those big meals, high-fat meals shortly before bed. Look for meals that have carbohydrates in them. Again, milk, cheese, bowl of cereal, glass of warm milk, that old like wives' tale, glass of warm milk may be beneficial at all. It can increase the serotonin in your bloodstream, and that's one of those chemicals, that natural in your body chemicals that helps you relax. Certainly avoid that coffee or other caffeine-rich foods and drinks close to bedtime. When's close to bedtime? For some people, it may be 8 at night. For some, it may be 11 in the morning. So everybody is different. So you sort of need to, experiment. If you're having some sleeping issues, maybe back up the time you're stopping your caffeine consumption, and see what time of day your sleep maybe gets better. Melatonin is also very helpful to help promote sleep. It's something your body produces anyways naturally. So basically, when outside, when the sun starts to set, that's a trigger for your body to start releasing melatonin, and it's a natural relaxer. Signal to your body, all right, it's time to calm down, it's time to relax, it's time to unwind. However, some people just don't produce enough, or it's just not getting the job done. So you can certainly take supplements. I would probably check with your doctor before doing that. These are not a prescription medication. It's something your body produces anyways. You're not going to overdose on it, so there's not that concern. But I just always think before you take any kind of supplement, good idea to check with the doctor. However, and I've always read with melatonin also, most people need a lower dose than they think. And the idea with melatonin is to take it a couple of hours before going to bed, not right when you're going to bed. If you're taking it right when you're going to bed, you're taking it more as a sleeping pill, which, all right, it can do its job. But the idea with melatonin is to help get your body into a regular sleep pattern. And by taking it a couple of hours before bedtime, it allows that natural relaxation to occur. And hopefully it can, after a week or so, you can get back into a normal, healthy rhythm. But you can also find melatonin in foods. You don't have to take a supplement. Walnuts and tart cherries and tart cherry juice are the best dietary sources. And when I say tart cherry juice, I mean tart cherry juice. So my daughter will sometimes make like a green tea and herbal decaf tea, and she'll mix a couple tablespoons of cherry juice and like a squirt of honey in it. She'll drink that before bed to help her sort of relax. And so that's something that you can do. But again, it's the tart cherry juice. My husband, it's ironically, tart cherry juice also helps with muscle pain. So if you are, an athlete and you get that soreness the next day, consuming tart cherry juice can help decrease that. So my husband would drink like a whole glass of it after he would run. It's tart, man. All right, so that is that. So we are almost at our end. Just to reiterate a few of our key tips. We want to be eating every 3 to 4 to 5 waking hours. We want to get breakfast every day at some point in the morning, some version. We want to choose high fiber and lean protein foods at every eating occasion, every meal and snack. We got a question: why are you keeping the flax and the chia in the freezer, not in the fridge? It just the freezer tends to preserve things longer. And again, it doesn't, neither of those. And I don't keep my chia in the freezer. I actually keep my chia in the cabinet, and it's fine. But the flax, you are very welcome. The flax, ground flax, just tends to last much longer in the refrigerator. In the freezer. And like I said, it does not freeze like a brick. I can just open the bag, take my tablespoon out right there, put it back in the freezer. Omega-3 fatty acids, we want to be consuming those. Again, that's where our flax comes in, our chia, our walnuts, our salmon. Those are great sources of that. We want to stay hydrated, and we want to limit those refined carbs. I'm not saying you need to avoid them altogether, but we certainly want to limit them. And ideally, when you are eating those refined carbs, pair them with something else. So again, my house, if we're going to have that traditional pasta, which we have every Sunday because I'm Italian, we are going to have some turkey meatballs in that sauce, or we are going to have, my husband loves sausage, so we're going to have sausage in that sauce, and we're going to have some fruit along the with our meal as well, so we get that fiber that we're missing from those carbs. And I will say, any questions, I'm going to go back to that slide because it's more beneficial or more helpful. But that is it. Do you guys have any other questions or comments that we didn't address yet as we're going along? You are very welcome. I'll hang out here for a minute and see if anybody has any questions. You're welcome. You're welcome. Everybody's very welcome. Have a great day. Stay warm. I don't know where all of you are. I'm in freezing Massachusetts, below freezing. We're saying salad and veggies are not high fiber. It depends on the veggies you're putting in them. So if you are having, lettuce and celery and, cucumbers and things like that, not a lot of fiber in those. So you're going to want to, and vegetables aren't loaded with fiber anyways. But you're going to want to, maybe like carrots and tomatoes are going to have a little bit more fiber. But I always say, beans, some lean protein, add those in there just to bump up the fiber a little bit more. Why does chia make one feel bloated? Well, I don't know. I've not noticed that. I would make sure you're not eating too much of it. The recommendation is only a little bit, like I don't know, it's like a spoonful a day or something. Um, but you can, one thing it does is chia, uh, because of how much fiber it contains, it absorbs a lot of water. So that may be what it's doing in your digestive tract, is just sort of absorbing that water. So maybe cut down on the portion, maybe don't eat as much at one time, and see if that helps. Your daughter's not eating it. Oops, where'd it go? You are very welcome. Oh, shoot, I can only, oh, here, let's see. And flax and chia, anything else? Um, Walnuts. So, flax and chia. So there's not, tuna. Oh, you said fish, not just salmon. Yeah. So, uh, I would go for trying to add walnuts to baked goods, adding the flax meal and chia to baked goods. And not so, I guess the chia I tend to use more in like smoothies. If you mix chia with like vanilla, and yes, I know vanilla yogurt has more sugar than plain yogurt, but it tastes way better. And we're getting a nutritional boost here. You could use plain yogurt and add some vanilla to it, or add a little honey to it. But if you mix chia with yogurt, like Greek yogurt, and let it sit for a little bit, it'll sort of get like this pudding consistency. Sprinkle some berries on it, and that's a great way to get some chia in. But again, flax is great. Put it in pancake batter, put it in waffle batter, put it in muffins, sprinkle that into some mac and cheese. You can do a lot with ground flax. Oh, use it if you're breading like chicken cutlets or chicken tenders, put it in the breading. Lots of ways to boost some flax. No, I don't think chia or flax, I don't think either one of them has a strong flavor. Again, you're going to be consuming them in small quantities. Chia, poppy seeds, like it might get a little stuck in your teeth sometimes. But no, I don't think it has much flavor at all, either one of them. And chia, it tends to be expensive if you've never used it before. Usually in like the health food section of your grocery store, you can get a big container for like $12. But usually in the baking aisle, a lot of my stores have a brand called Badia, Badia. It's usually on the top shelf. They will often sell spices in little Ziploc bags. And they sell chia that way too. So if you've never used it before, that may be a great way to try it before you buy the big $12 bottle. You can get a little Ziploc bag. Like I said, Badia. In my grocery stores, it's in the baking aisle. Sometimes it's in the international aisle. Is regular use of flax and chia okay for children? It should be. Again, not going overboard. Just, the portions may be smaller. So that's why I like to say, sprinkling some in like a muffin batter, or pancake mix. Nobody's going to get a huge amount of it at one time, but over time, they're going to just get a little bit consistently. All right. Any other questions or comments? I wish this was like texting where you could see if somebody was writing, but you can't. All right. It does not seem like there are any questions anymore. So I am going to say have a great rest of your day, and stay warm. So thank you. Thank you very much.